Okay, this is the introduction to the Ascension Mastery series. I'm going off some of my notes just so you know what I'm looking at over here. This class where I'm basically going to go through the phases and steps that I've witnessed, practiced, and developed on my own through both my own journey and helping other people move through different frequency ranges with different activations, different awakenings. And the spiritual path is a path inward. It's a path about finding your soul self and releasing the identity of the limited, separated self. And this is a completely independent individual journey. I don't believe there is a right path, and everybody has to do it this one way. That's not, I don't think that's healthy, nor is that realistic in any sense. So I work really hard to stay away from any sort of dogmatic thinking, mass movements, processes that people kind of attach themselves to and think that that process is the answer. The process helps you to find yourself and clear any programming or belief systems that don't align with your soul, because that's really the process. You're aligning with your soul truth, your soul light, and removing anything that is a barrier between you and that. You shifting and raising your frequency to higher levels, that's soul evolution, and doing that consciously in body is one of the most challenging tasks that you might ever encounter and work with. It's very taxing on the physical body, the mind, the emotions, and so having a support system through that is really important. People that understand that you have your very own energetic imprint, your own processes, your own way of doing things and connecting. And so my process is you know, it's a system and it's a path, but there should be room for your own adjustments, shifts, and changes. Frequency shifting helps you to access more information, basically, is what it does. You access more information, your power increases, your spiritual power increases, and what that really is your energetic power to work with the quantum field. So energy healing non-locally, to be able to raise your frequency to a certain level, and thus you have done the work on yourself to evolve to a level to actually be able to utilize these spiritual gifts. And the only reason why you're able to utilize them is because you've done the work on yourself to use them with integrity and love, and that's just a natural process so that they're not misused. You can use the manipulation, the distorted reality, and kind of mess with things in that sense, but when it comes down to it, those aren't going to evolve your soul. And that's really what we're working with, is growing the soul wisdom, soul knowledge, and soul evolution in body. Okay, so that's this path here. So when we go through these steps, this is not the way you have to do it. This is the way I've done it. This is the way I coach people to do it. It's the path that I've noticed and worked with, and it's been effective and helpful. And I developed a method of measuring this, and you're measuring the immeasurable. It's not something that can be like quantified. It's a process that I have that I can teach others, but there's no scientific material backing on this process. So it's something that I watch. It's a way for me to see where people are at and how they're evolving, what they're ready for, and the shifts and changes they need to make. So in this class, we're just going to go through the phases so you understand the processes, and it may not be as long as the rest of them, or quite as organized, because the rest I really want you to understand that the steps, the phases, the processes, some of the things you can experience and expect, and that way not only for your own growth and development, but if you are also a healer or helping other people at the ascension path, that you can understand that more as you're teaching and healing as well. Okay, so the ascension phases, I don't know if my glasses help or don't help. Let's see. The very first phase is waking up from the lead-based shadow consciousness and become aware that there is more. So a lot of. Second is beginning the process of integrating awareness of the true nature of reality. So this is meditation. So once you awaken to the fact that there's more than just the physical body, the physical life, the material, touch, taste, sound, then we have beginning the process of self-mastery. So this is understanding the shadow and not conquering it, not ignoring it, not pushing it away, but realizing what purpose it had. How do you learn from the shadow? How do you integrate that information and knowledge? What the process of self-mastery is, there are phases to this growth, and there's a reason for it. Because if you were to just jump from this shadow-based reality into this really high frequency space without doing the work, if you do this naturally, it'll be a naturally occurring evolution, clearing, processing, growth, clearing, processing, growth, clearing, processing, growth. And through each phase, you will develop more self-mastery over your thoughts, your emotions, over your subconscious mind, over your programming, and beginning to clear all those blocks, etc. Into the clearing the field. So the shadow, integrating the shadow is just becoming more self-aware. And so we went into this a little bit a second ago, becoming more self-aware of your reactions, your actions, where are they coming from? Why do you fear that? Why do you love this? And just understanding yourself more from the conscious space and beginning to dive into the subconscious mind. So then the fifth step is beginning to clear the energetic field. So this is where energy healers come in, meditations come in, guided visualizations to help clear the field with violet flame, white fire. When I really began to take this step seriously, I worked with violet flame twice a day, every single day for probably a year. I mean, I still work with it almost every day, but rapid changes happened because I decided to commit to clearing my field and to this path where I would be able to heal and expand. So this step is really important because what it does is clears your field enough so that you can actually see your issues and your shadows and begin to purify them, transmute them, and then you're able to see your soul self with more clarity. And that's really what we're trying to get to in the first few phases, is clearing enough so that you can see your soul self, and then you can start feeding that essence self to expand and grow and evolve. Okay. Then we have the need to consciously choose your thoughts, heal the thoughts, both conscious and subconscious. And to do that, you have to align with your true nature. Learn to maintain soul alignment, sleep meditations, flower essence, higher dimensional communication, channeled messages, oracles. So this is really beginning to work with the mental field and being conscious and aware of self-talk. And then if you notice patterns, so through the star crafting class, you can go through there and do the soul chronicles. And there's a lot of exercises to help you look for patterns. And step and phase is through working with channeled messages, oracles, divination, those types of things, because they will help you readjust the way you think and see yourself, which is really powerful, especially when you're trying to transmute and transform into these other levels. So then there is a need to begin to actively work on your own energetic system. So you can, again, do this with healers, but learning how to do it yourself, becoming conscious and aware of your chakra systems, your auric field, how you feel, how your energy feels. Do you feel like there's a tear? Could there be a spirit attachment? Those types of things, once you're really tapped in, tuned in, you will notice the difference, and you'll be able to pinpoint what it is that's going on specifically. And if you can't, there's a process to help you to attune to that, to work with that. And you can't always heal your own field because you don't hold the frequencies you need. Most of the time you can. And if you are tapped into the full Corona bridge or the rainbow bridge and all the frequency ranges, then you just have to pull in the right frequency ranges and work with them appropriately. So this gets into energy dynamics and how do you work with that in and around you. Then you start working on activating the higher gateways. Now, I used to be really careful with this meditation and not activate everybody, but because of the energetic shift in the earth plane, the 3D, 5D, almost everyone could have these activated now and they'd be just fine and be able to handle the energies. What it does is it activates the outermost levels of the auric field, as well as a full connection to source energy, and opens up this pillar of light so you can pull in these divine energies through your being and ground them into the earth plane. And it just clears out those gateways fully and balances and stabilizes them so you have this divine connection consciously. And it also awakens an awareness to your multidimensional self and helps you to begin connecting fully to that, basically. So you have this activation of the cosmic heart field that helps you to connect to all that is. Okay, there is a need to begin to work with and integrate higher dimensional gifts and talents. So how do you begin working with these new skills and talents that are coming in through this heightened frequency range, access to more information? Because the same class, the Start Crafting class, we have what I call lawless creativity, and it helps you to begin channeling this information in a way that's more tangible. So through painting, through music, through dance, and that way you start embodying these energies and these frequencies to begin to utilize them on the earth plane. It may not make a lot of sense, but that's what this phase is about, is taking all this information and knowledge and the higher frequency gifts that you are developing and accessing and growing, and then beginning to utilize them on the earth plane. Then we have activating the body of light, the Merkaba, Merkana, and Merkaba. So the Merkaba should be activated when you activate the higher gateways. And we have the Merkaba and Merkaba. And these are just a little bit higher dimensional light bodies. So they help people expand and connect to more multidimensionality and ascended energies, your multidimensionality. So it allows you to access your multidimensionality consciously, because we're all multidimensional regardless if we believe in that or not. But this allows you to access it because you can't do it through your brain. Your brain isn't doing anything except for processing information. So you're using your consciousness, and the more your consciousness expands and the more your frequency expands, the more connected you can be to these, and they can come through you instead of you holding them in your mind, in your brain, basically. So this information basically channels through you, which is why I really encourage people to have notebooks and journals to write things that come to them so that they don't forget it, because you're not going to be able to hold this information in your mind. So the Merkana, you can begin grounding the 5th density light body and begin working with nature in a more like telepathic, communicative way. So nature is the highest vibrational frequency that we have on the planet. So just spending time out there connecting with Earth and allowing that connection to stabilize through not only the color green, it's the green ray, but it's also helping you connect to the Earth, connect with archangels, Archangel Raphael, as well as healing abilities, expanding your healing abilities. So after the Merkana activation, there's a huge shift in frequency. It takes some time to acclimate, to integrate, and really begin living in that space. So spend about 2 months after the Mercana before you really move on to any higher activations, but everyone's going to be different there. So once the Mercana is activated, you can begin consciously working with the cellular transmutation process. So the cellular transmutation process everyone is going through. Some people have just begun it. Other people are kind of leading the way, and this is a transmutation. To be able to do that, you have to have all the 7 rays fully activated and stabilized and strong in your energy system, and that allows you to connect to every single frequency range that you possibly could to pull in whatever energies, vibrations, frequencies you need to work with tangibly. So this is a huge step in evolution with your ability to utilize any frequency range. It's really important to understand how to use that, which is part of the reason why we have the Enzo Energy Training, because you could have this ability and not know how to use all the frequency ranges. So that can be measured and activated as well. Once all the 7 rays are activated, then you need to strengthen the connection to each ray, to each of those frequency ranges, to each of those energies, as well as the soul star chakra, because that's basically the essence self, the I am presence. And that is what will know how to work with all of these energies, your own soul star chakra, your essence self, your higher self, okay? So you strengthen the connection to the Antakarana as well as the soul star. Once the 7 rays are activated, you'll go through another frequency shift, and then there's a little bit of time needed for the full integration and stabilization. Then we have the Merkaba activation, and this is the 24-point star of Christos Ascension, and allow you access to pretty much any information, as well as helping you to reach the ascended mastery states in body. Activated, then you can start working with biophotonic light, increasing your light quotient, which helps you to hold and embody more light, as well as expand more light, and it helps with the transmutation process as well. Then we have the need to begin working with universal plasma, and what this does is it feeds the cells while they're moving through this transmutation process. It's kind of like spiritual nourishment for the physical body when it's going through a lot of shifts and changes through the ascension process. Light quotient's high enough and the transmutation process has kind of climaxed, then you begin working with the diamond light body. A diamond light body has to be activated. Again, you could do it organically or have someone activate it in your field. But once that happens, your frequency will not go higher than a certain range until the diamond light body is activated, and then you can move up into these almost unheard of frequency ranges. Because diamond light body, kind of a new learning curve, new awarenesses, new revelations will come to you, and new gifts. And so every time you have this leveling up of new gifts, some of the old gifts you had may kind of fizzle out, and you'll have new ones to focus on, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Antakarana bridge at the cellular level, generating and expanding the 7 rays in the full spectrum of light and energy to work with to create pure source-based holographic realities from within the higher mind space. So this is about literally precipitation from the higher mind space, working with just frequency ranges activated in your field, but you can connect to the 5D grid system through the galactic healing session that I do. And what this does is it pulls in these energies from the 12 star systems that are already ascended civilizations, and their energy comes in through a central crystal, and that connects your energy into the 5D crystalline grid. And there's literally a shift from the 3D grid to the 5D grid system. It's important to take this one step at a time. You don't want to skip steps. You don't want to all of a sudden go into diamond light body 5D grid if your frequency was 250 a week ago. It's not going to work. So you have to do this. It's a soul evolution. There's a natural organic process, and you'll reach the frequency ranges and the activations and the awakenings, realities that you need to in this life. There's no reason to force it. It's just, it is what it is. And this is just what I've realized. It's not the only path. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways to activate and raise your frequency from other healers or ascension coaches, other processes that I can. There's a lot of responsibility put on you. This isn't necessarily the easiest path. So it does take dedication and patience and a lot of self-love and non-judgment to move through all this. So the next class, we're going to go directly into the 4 phases of alchemy. I teach this in the spiritual alchemy class, healing in with other people, and give you some ideas and inspiration. And if you're beginning the process, this is really important to understand the process of transmutation and moving through the different phases in general of the awakening process. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time.